Hello, creators. How are you guys? It's great to hang out with you again for another Video Creators podcast episode and live stream. I'm really excited about today because you get to meet some of my friends. I have been hanging out in Video Labs for the past 8 weeks with an awesome group of YouTube creators who are all growing their channels, working really hard to do everything that's necessary to reach more people, change their lives, and really have an impact on everyone who's a part of their communities on YouTube. And I asked them to come here and not only introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they're doing, but also give you a tip, an idea, or a piece of advice that will really help you move forward with your channel to really reach more people and change more lives with what you're doing on YouTube. So this is going to be awesome. I am really excited, and we're going to dive right in. Now the context here, like I said, is Video Labs. If you're not familiar with Video Labs, you can find a link in the show notes or in the description below. And I'll just tell you more about what Video Labs is, but basically it's just 8 weeks we spent together just in group sessions like this every week, just talking here in Zoom, as well as going through course material, doing plenty of assignments and reviewing channels and going through a process that leads to channel growth. And so you guys are going to learn a lot from these guys after what they've gone through the past 8 weeks. So if you're interested in joining us for the next one, it starts in October. You can use that link down below or in the show notes and sign up, get on the waiting list. And we limit it to only 27 people. So first 27, first come, first serve is who we go with. So we'd love to have you become a part of the next one. So let's start with Rick. Hey, Rick, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your channel, what you do on YouTube.
Hey, thanks, Tim. My name's Rick Bickling, and my channel is The How Do Gardener. And not surprisingly, it's a channel about gardening. I'm a master gardener in Austin, Texas, and my goal is to help everyone plant, grow, and live their best gardening life. We talk about a lot of different things, organic gardening. Really, we learned a lot of great things in Tim's class. He didn't pay me to say this, but it was very interesting. There's a ton of information. One of the things I really took out of it was I always thought that the video session starts when they start watching your video. But really, when you think about it, if you look at the title and the thumbnail for your video, that's really when the video session starts. You've really got to tease the content, kind of lure them into the video, but you don't want to clickbait. You can clickbait as long as you give them what you're clickbaiting about.
What does that look like on your channel? Give us an example of like how you've been doing that lately with videos.
Well, the first thing is whatever you title the video. When I title it, I try to do some keyword searches and try to get the title where it's very searchable. And really on the thumbnail, you don't have to, or you don't want to put the exact title in the thumbnail. You want them to complement each other rather than being exactly the same thing. So I'll pose a question or put something that kind of teases. It's hard to get too teasing about green beans and tomatoes, but you want them to complement each other. Yeah, you could, yeah.
You're solving a lot of problems. And so anyone who has that problem, who's like, oh, that solves that problem for me, and the title and thumbnail pitch it, then that is something that people are more likely to click on. One of the things that you said too, that's also really important that I think is worth pointing out is complementing each other. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you mean about that? Like the title and thumbnail complementing each other?
Exactly. The title pretty much is, for me is, let's growing green beans, growing tomatoes, something that's kind of lays it out like that. But then maybe in the thumbnail, I'll put some text in there that says something like, hey, 20 master gardener tips to grow green beans, or, secrets for your best tomatoes ever. So a little bit more kind of teasing it, trying to lure them in rather than just straight bing, bang, boom. This is what the title of the video is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. When they complement each other, rather than just like repeating the title of the video in the thumbnail, there's not like, you want them to work together. So it's like, oh, I read what the title is and the image now makes perfect sense, and vice versa, as opposed to like the title and thumbnail just kind of saying the exact same thing and not really adding additional benefits. So it's like one's a visual pitch and one's a text pitch, rather than using your thumbnail just to have all text on it.
Right? Exactly.
Exact same thing as your title. It's great. Yeah. Thank you, Rich. Love it. That's awesome. Let's go to Lucia. Hi, Lucia. How are you doing today? I can unmute you. There you go.
Oh.
So tell us a little bit about your channel and what you do on YouTube. Hold on. I'm trying to get it unmuted. I'll let you unmute it. Go ahead. No, but keep talking.
Okay. All right. There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go. Good.
All right. Technology is something I'm learning. So, which was a wonderful thing in this class because I learned a whole bunch of technology stuff. So that was great. But anyway, my name is Lucia Oliverio, and my channel is Green Olive Cooking, Green Olive being one word. And it's a channel where I bring great meals and memories through wholesome Italian cooking to your kitchen.
That's great.
And I loved taking this course. There was a lot of really, really good information, and I'm so glad that we have access to it for a whole year because I definitely will be reviewing. But I think the most valuable thing that I got out of it was our value proposition. I'm noticing when I look at other companies now, you think it's like a no-brainer, but I don't know, I just never got it until we talked about it in class. And I can see how important having that value proposition is because it right away identifies who you are and makes that connection. And if you look at big companies that are successful, they all have it. And I guess I just never realized it until we started talking about it. And I think everything starts from that value proposition and then trickles down once you get that all tuned in. So
one of the hardest things it seems like for creators is to figure out that value proposition. Do you have any advice or tips for people who are like, how do I even begin to figure that out and integrate that into my brand? What would you say to that person?
Well, you have to find what's unique to you and what your niche is. And then once you do it, it becomes a little easier. And even that being said, even though I had it, I was still, thankfully, from the help through your channel, I still had people that kind of helped me fine tune it and kind of dialing it in a little bit more. So I think I finally got it. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to change as I also continue to grow as a YouTube creator and my audience continues to grow. So I could see it changing, but it's a good start right now to help me stay focused.
Yeah. How many of you guys here who are in this live stream, just raise your hand visually if you are having like the value proposition and target audience was like the most difficult part of like
yeah.
So almost every hand, not all of them, but yeah. Okay. Taylor changed his mind. It's like, yeah, that was pretty hard. it's not, yeah. People like, I just want to reach people who like playing video games.
Yeah.
Like,
I had done it way earlier. So
okay.
Getting to that point.
Easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, but like, there's lots of channels about video games. Why your channel? And that's the thing, that question we're trying to answer for people immediately as soon as they find us is like, oh, I get what Lucia's channel is all about. And
yeah.
So share with us your value proposition one more time now that people are thinking about it in that context.
So my value proposition is it's a channel where I bring meals and memories through wholesome Italian cooking to their kitchen. Because I know there's a lot of cooking channels out there, but mine's Italian. So what makes mine special? And I think, to me, eating together as a family is a lost art. So that's why it's important to bring these wholesome meals together for the family to eat and have that lost art of dinner at the table again, where conversation is created and connections are made with the family.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. And so what you just did there is you added like a why, which is like, this isn't about just food, like the intellectual level, but there's this emotional level now that you're creating with people too, which is like, I'm going to show you how to do this food so that you can make connections with people who mean the most to you, like with your family.
Right. Yeah.
And then
it was awesome.
Oh, that's why I love Lucia. It's not just about cooking. It's about this bigger, deeper thing that I actually really want. So
yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Lucia.
Thank you, Tim.
Let's go to Mitha.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm really excited to be here today. I absolutely love being on Video Labs, and one thing I really learned was that you have to take a look at how your viewer experiences your videos. So I'm a cosplayer, and if you don't know what that is, I make and or buy costumes, and basically I dress up as characters from mostly anime series, and I do a lot of skits and parodies. And for me, when I write a story, it makes sense because it's in my head and I have all the details. But sometimes when someone watches the story, it can be completely different for them. So every video, everything you make has kind of a red thread. And that's what you need to kind of follow. Because if you have someone watch your video, they will probably click on it because they like the thumbnail and the title or the combination. And they have already said yes to your video. They said yes to the value you proposed when they first saw it. So then in the hook, you need to really show them that that value is what they're going to get from the video. So you need to hook them quickly. And if you, say, are a vlog channel and you have maybe a vlog about going to the pool and the first shots are maybe from a cute dog you saw along the way, that's a fun shot, but I didn't click because I wanted to see dogs. If I wanted to see dogs, I would have gone to Cesar Milan's channel or something. So if you make a hook, for example, a really cool dive bomb of a couple of people into the water, you really have their attention and you show them, see, you clicked because you wanted this part. I give this to you. Just watch the rest of the video, sit back, don't worry about it. We're going to get you there. And that really creates kind of a sigh of relief, and people can sit back and just enjoy whatever it is you're going to show them. So if you notice that your video halfway through, your red thread becomes like a rainbow color thread or a blue thread, just cut it right there. Just make that a different video. Don't mix too many different things together. And that's what I learned by really going deep into my analytics, for example. And it's just really important to make consistent pieces of value, that if your viewer knows, if I see this thumbnail and this title, Tim does that very well. You know, if he says, this is what this video is about, that's what you're going to get. And it's not going to be some kind of weird mismatch of, well, all kind of crazy things you weren't watching or were looking for. So that's really a very important part. So an assignment for you guys, go and watch on YouTube. And yeah, I'm dishing out assignments right away.
I love it. Yeah, you've clearly been through Video Labs. Keep going.
So go and look at a couple of different videos and see their titles and thumbnails and think about why you would or wouldn't watch them. And do that for your own niche, but also for a couple of different other niches. And then we'll write down why you would or wouldn't click on them. And then once you do click, just see how that hooks into the video and whether it changed your mind. And that's, for me, just looking at other people's videos, how I completely changed how I think about my own videos and how I make them. So before you start a new video, just write everything down that you want to make and then see if you have that red thread or if your thread needs to be cut short and you make 2 videos out of it. That's really important to get.
Love that. So when you're doing cosplay videos, like some feedback that people usually give at this point is like, well, that makes sense if I'm doing educational content, like how to sew a dress or something. But if I'm just making like, hey, I'm in my costume, having a good time, how do you take that principle and apply it to something that might be a little bit more on the entertainment side of your channel?
Well, most of my videos are scripts. So I'll have maybe a character that shares a part of their life, or it's kind of like a comedy video. And I know beforehand what the story is. And what I'm going to implement in new videos that I didn't do before is just write the entire story and then think of something extra that would complement that video, but isn't already part of it, and put that at the beginning that works together with the title and the thumbnail. So when it's maybe... I did a video on how a really good technician actually hacked someone else's computer and all kind of funny things. So maybe have a shot at the beginning with a computer just being malicious, looking at the camera. Bet you didn't expect that. Something that doesn't really happen in the video itself, but raises a question like, oh, what's going to happen? And that really ties in with what the viewer already wants to see with the title and thumbnail. Because again, they clicked on your video, so they already told you, I want to watch this, if what you pitched is really what's in this video.
Exactly. Yeah. As soon as there's that disconnect, they're like, I'm out. I clicked with this expectation. It's not being delivered. See ya. And they go to another video. That's great. Thank you. And by the way, you guys who are joining the live stream later, links to all their channels are down below. You can go check them out, subscribe, follow along, see how their channels grow and progress from this point forward. So encourage you to just really watch their stories. And also for those of you guys who are having questions, I see some of them coming up. We will dive into all the questions here at the end in a little bit. And I'm actually going to turn the questions to this group of creators to answer, because I love it, because this is like when everything starts clicking for them. They're like, I never even thought of that, but I knew how to answer it because I know the process to go through. And and how to think about what I'm doing on YouTube, not just like how to click here and click there. So I'm going to give them that opportunity. So ask them in chat. I'll be taking them out of the chat and putting them in front of them. So you guys make sure you ask your questions as we go through some of this stuff. So let's go to Jill. Hey, Jill.
Well, hey, how you doing?
Hi, good.
So my channel is called Yester Kitchen, all one word, and I do retro cooking. It's pretty much the 1940s to the 1980s, and I'm also a food historian. So I talk about how dishes were created, and believe me, they all have really cool stories. And then I make the original dishes. So that's my whole world, is food history. And if you grew up during that time, I bring back all the childhood memories. And if you haven't and you're too young, then you learn food history. So it's a win-win. And my tip is also about thumbnails, but I've learned, I mean, there's so much that goes into thumbnails, and I had no idea that there was so much work. But really, especially, it's the window to your video, and no one's going to click on a crappy thumbnail, honestly. So you're never going to get them to come to your channel. So it's all, for me, it's all about the picture, and I learned how to make the picture more prevalent, more front and center, and not have words, you know, going all over the place. But whatever the video is about, you really want that front and center on your thumbnail. So people, especially for me doing a cooking channel, people are like, hey, I want to make that, or hey, I want to learn about that. So it's super important to just make sure where your wording is kind of complementing the picture, but really it's all about the picture, especially when people are on mobile and it's, you know, too many words just gets too crowded. So you just really want to make, like, here's a pineapple upside down cake, and that's just front and center. That's right. That's my tip.
Yeah. So when you talk about optimizing for mobile, that is like, most people don't think about that because we're editing our thumbnail like a full 1080p resolution in Photoshop or whatever we're using. And we don't often actually consider that it's like really super tiny on the really tiny screens when people actually see it. So when you're creating your thumbnails, what do you do differently, knowing that most people are going to see it when it's really small and not really big?
I just, like I said, I make the food the front and center, and honestly, I have somebody that does my thumbnails because I'm not very good at it.
Perfect. There you go. So the lesson is, you're not good at something, outsource it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Good. Well, it's great to have you. And if you guys want to check out Jill's channel, you can find her linked up down below. How about Miss Cindy? How are you doing, Cindy?
Hi.
Hey.
So I'm Cindy Cho from The Sound of Cooking, and I'm hoping to help you slow down, be present, and create memories one plate at a time through these cooking videos that really highlight the sounds of cooking. I had so many good takeaways from this course, so there's too much to talk about, but one main thing I'd like to point out that's really helped me that I've had the time to implement is extending my retention rate and watch time through end screen strategies. So in our latest video, I put the end screen up before there are any clear signs of the video ending, and also having a clear call to action to encourage a viewer to click on that end screen by teasing a value that really hits on solving a problem or a pain point of the viewer. And I think also using a playlist instead of just one video, that's really helped in, one, increasing watch time, and also that video, the retention rate is flat, like all the way to the end. There's no drop off, and it's a huge difference from my other content.
So what's one of the main things that you found you need to do differently as you're going through your content, evaluating the metrics and the analytics and audience retention, that you're like, oh, we really need to change this part right here? Anything stand out to you guys about that?
I think when I look at my analytics, there was a clear, you can see when there's drop-offs, and one of the clear signs was at the end. When I first started, I even put like end titles, which was crazy. You'd see it drop all the way to like 10% retention rate.
Right.
Yeah. So like increasing watch time, I think that's the main thing. Having someone want to continue to stay on YouTube and click on the next video was a big plus.
Cool. I got a funny comment in chat here from Millennial Cleopatra. Is like, all these cooks, Tim is up to something. LOL. Yeah, so some of them I fit at the Everything Food Conference, and then others were recommended by other people who have gone through, like other food people who have gone through past sessions of Video Labs who came in. So it just kind of worked out. Like a good chunk of the creators in this one were food people, which I thought worked out great. And I was just hungry every Tuesday when we met. So watching other videos is great. Great. Well, thank you, Cindy. Super helpful. Let's talk to John Riggs. Hey, John.
Hello. How are you feeling? My name is John Riggs. I host a gaming channel. It's tech and reviews. It's old broken video games that I fix them on screen. So people who might have a game that has been in the garage for 30 years, doesn't work anymore, I can show them how to get it working again. And I'm one of the people who Video Labs is for everyone. I have a decent channel. I've been doing it for about 4 years now. I have, 70,000-ish subscribers. My subscribers are good. My views are okay, but my retention rate wasn't great also, as just like what Cindy was talking about. So with me, one of my biggest takeaways was, and I referenced this back to, I heard that Jerry Seinfeld, the comedian, of course, the tax accountant, Jerry Seinfeld, the comedian, would he would take a joke and then keep removing words so the joke was just as funny but as tight as possible. I would look at my retention rate and see that people would skip over my intro. Well, I removed the intro, and now they don't skip over the intro. I made my edits more tighter, and that would So again, subscribers are fine, views are fine, but watch time was not great, and that's one of my takeaways, was just to increase. Because without watch time, then people are just dropping out early, or they're just like, well, I'm not going to go back to that channel again. I have no reason to. A 20-minute video, but they only watch 1 minute of it. I'd rather have, a 10-minute video where they watch 10 minutes of it, hopefully. So that retention rate was everything to me.
So you have a little bit more of an established channel. And
right.
So I'm going to presume, we haven't talked about this, so I might be totally wrong, but I'm going to presume that you are already familiar with audience retention and watch time and things like that. Is that true prior to taking Video Labs?
It was, yeah. Coming into it was, again, it was the entire Video Labs was fantastic, from storytelling to learning your creed and all that. A lot of it was a great even refresher to say, like, okay, good, these are the things I have been doing, and I know I'm already on the right track. I can just, fine tune them for myself and make it more valuable, not just for me, but also for the people watching too. And it's been an excellent experience, and I've loved every moment of it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think that's pretty common among creators who go through Video Labs and are established. Like some of it's brand new, like a lot of the branding stuff and positioning stuff seems to be new for a lot of people. But in terms of like audience retention graphs and things like that, for some of them, like, yeah, I know about this. But then it's like, okay, but now you actually have to go look at it.
Right.
know? So it's a little different to just know that it exists and like, oh, that's something I should probably do. But to have accountability to be like, this week, you're going to go look at 20 of your videos. You're going to analyze these graphs. And then you're coming back next week into our call and you're going to report on what you found, what you learned. And we're all going to share that information together and help each other out so we can all learn from each other collectively as like what's causing abandonment and what's holding people's attention and what's working and not and all that kind of stuff. So I think there, like that value, just having the built-in accountability is helpful. But for you, it's like not like maybe like blind blowing, but it's like actually doing the work is like where the results come from.
Well, sure. Well, and just knowing what it looks like. because I would go in there myself, like, oh, I'm going to look at my analytics, and you look at it, and it looks like the deck of the Starship Enterprise, where you're like, I don't know what these buttons are. I don't know what's going on. What am I trying to push here? So it was nice to have, either you or someone on your team actually say, oh, all you have to do is click this, and that shows you exactly what you're looking for specifically. Yeah. And then I can look at that and I can say, oh, I know exactly what's going on. I can see why there's a dip there. And then, oh, this dip's here. What's going on? And like Cindy was talking about, where if you have your in screen too early, then they drop off immediately. Well, there was several videos when I was doing my own research, looking back, where people would drop off 3 minutes before the video ended because it sounded like I was about to say my goodbyes. And it's like, well, no, I can't have any of that. I just have to, I was gonna say Monty Python's Flying Circus had their deal was they didn't have a punchline to anything. It would just move. The punchline was the ending. So instead of having a punchline, it would just move on to the next skit. So I got to have that philosophy going into making some great content on YouTube.
Yeah, cool. Good old Mike's Garage in chat says, sorry, who's this guy? Channel sounded cool.
Oh yeah. My channel has gone through several names. And that was the other cool thing about going through Video Labs and finding your creed is, early on I was able because, first, I was, my name is John Riggs. I love things that are nostalgic. So my name was Rigstalgic. Yay. It was like, what does that mean? Nothing. I love video games and breakfast cereals. And then my channel was video games and breakfast cereal. Well, that's kind of weird. So now it's just like, you know what? I've been around for a while. I go to conventions and stuff like that. So now my channel name is literally my name. It's just John Riggs, all one word. And you have it linked in the description below too. I think it's actually youtube.com/Rigstalgic because I did the old talk about nostalgic. So
apparently he'll show you that there's other ways to get your video games working than blowing in the cartridge.
Yeah, you're not supposed to blow in the cartridge. That creates a humidity, and then dirt sticks to it easier. So that's bad. See,
look at that.
Learn something new every day. I tell you, that one's free, but the rest of them are on my channel.
I love it. You gotta go check them out. Link down below or in the show notes if you're listening to the recording of this later. Let's talk to Doors in Time. Hey, how are you two doing?
Hi, everyone.
Duo.
I'm Anne-Marie, and I'm her mom, Heidi, and our channel, Doors in Time, is it's a family vlog, but we really focus on what's like life as being a medical mystery. I have 3 of them in my family right now, and we've really built a community of others who are struggling to get diagnosed, or they're in different stages of that process, and we kind of really support and help one another keep courage going, because it takes a long time, and that's the easiest, fastest thing to lose is courage in that process. So
yeah, and then our tip is titling videos according to the value that the viewer will get instead of just the subject.
So and this was our biggest weakness, we had really focused on, okay, this is the topic. And even though we're a family vlog, because we do talk about different disabilities and different problems and challenges and solutions, we actually put, kind of focus on those words in our title. But we didn't focus on the value. And we actually looked up, as part of our own little homework for today, an example of like a travel vlog. There was one that was called Travel Vlog for Zanzibar, which is, that tells you exactly what it is. And then another one from the Bucket List family who we watched said the 2 most bucket list things to do in Zanzibar. So obviously what you're going to get out of that is the most important things, the most exciting things for you if you're going there, where you can invest your time as opposed to just a travel vlog in Zanzibar. So, and that's the thing that we have been focusing on. And then I think the thing that helped us the most with learning that is just Tim has you watch a lot of YouTube, like more than you think that your brain can handle. But that's really the only way to learn how to do YouTube is to watch certain channels and see certain strategies in play. And he filters that out, because I couldn't just sit down at my computer and say, I'm going to find this or that or the other. No, I'm grateful he's already done that work for me. but once he finds those channels, then we learned their strategies and what works and what doesn't. So anyway.
Sometimes people hate me for the channels I assign to you to watch. They're like, Tim, seriously? Like, I got to watch this.
Yeah, we felt that way too sometimes, but but that didn't change the fact that it taught us principles that we needed to learn.
That's right.
And so if your homework is watching something you wouldn't normally watch, that's good too, because then you're going to learn things you wouldn't normally learn. So
yeah, like you're watching these kids unbox these toys, and you're like, 38 million views. What the heck? My videos are so better. Like, right? Like, good. Let's talk about that. 38 million views. What's going on here? And think about it in a different context rather than just like our own. So it'd be helpful. Let's go back to what your tip though was with the titles. And so if I was going to summarize it, you said it was like, just don't merely describe the content, but think about how you tease it or pitch the reward or the value someone's going to get if they actually.
It's the value to the viewer, what they're going to get from it, instead of just saying, here's the topic, which is what I thought I should have been doing. And I was wrong. Go ahead.
The argument for doing it that way is like, I just want to fit all my keywords into the title so that YouTube knows how to rank my video. But as we talked about, it's like, it's actually more based on how people interact and the signals that Google collects from viewers on your video about your content. And so we really need to be catering to the viewer, not necessarily to the robot. Right. And so like, that's where the difference comes in. It's like, you can still rank for stuff. But we want people when they actually see it to actually click, and what they care about is, what am I going to get out of this? And that's what we title after.
And that's really, and that's a really big mind shift, is we're not trying to cater to, to a machine. We're trying to cater to people. And it's pretty much the opposite of everything we've ever been taught in the past, because we were taught you're catering to a program, you're a slave to a program. And so that was, I think, the huge thing about your class, was that, no, we're trying to help people, not a machine. So
right. Good. Love it. If you guys want to check out their channel, linked up down below. We got a few more people here, then we're going to dive into your questions. So if you got more, please put them in chat now, and we'll get to them here in a second. Let's talk to Peter. Hey, Peter, how are you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I'm Peter Gallet, and I'm representing the Quinnipiac University channel. Our channel's to be able to showcase all the great and exciting things that are happening at Quinnipiac University to people that are here, but also to our prospective students as well as parents. But we're really trying to focus, for those prospective students and current students. And really, the thing that we've been on YouTube for a while, but we haven't been doing YouTube well. And I think coming into this course, there was so many things that we're thinking that we need to take care of. But one of the things that really stood out was really focusing on increasing the watch time and the session time, and keeping people on YouTube, because everyone talks about the algorithm and trying to figure out the algorithm. And one of the things, Tim, that you mentioned, as well as your team, is really focusing on keeping the viewer on YouTube, because YouTube will reward you for keeping the viewer there, either on your channel, and if they're not going to stay on your channel, keeping them on YouTube in general. And really, I think that goes back to having content that is valuable. A lot of times we're posting content that we think is important or informative, but not necessarily thinking about what is valuable to our target audience. And so really, this course has led me to really think about who our target audience is, and what value are we providing them in the content that we're producing.
How do you figure that out? Because I think everyone assumes when they make a new video, like, my video is awesome, it's super valuable, the whole world needs to see this, and then it doesn't get exposure, and people are just kind of, just discouraged. So how do you go about deciding and figuring out like what is actually valuable and what is like just you being proud of what you've created?
Well, yeah, that's interesting that you say that too, because we have, we've been proud of a lot of the content we do in terms of the quality of the content, and thinking about, we had to take a step back, and a lot of people that I work with, kind of got to the point where we kind of took the quality of the content down, but made sure that the content was more valuable. And we did some focus groups, asking some of our students, or people within our target audience. We looked at what people are looking at on YouTube, going back to the point that from before about seeing what else is out there. So it's a little bit of trial and error, and trying to get all the information, and kind of then deciding, what content is discoverable, what content will help build our community, and really trying to, see what else is out there and what other people are doing to find success that might work for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's just one way to figure that out either. I think it's just kind of like looking at analytics, and like you guys did, talk to other people who are in your target audience, get feedback from them. But I think it just kind of comes down to some sort of level of humility, and being like, I know I'm emotionally attached to this piece I just made, but I want to be objective in how well this is actually serving people, and being willing to take what you think is awesome and being like, no one else does, and I can take that. Now, how do I do better? Right. And that's just, it's hard. I get it. It's hard, but if you can have that objectivity, I think it really helps. Cool. Thank you, Peter. Let's see here. How about Taylor is here?
Hey, how you doing? I'm Taylor. I do marketing for creators. I teach people how to sell themselves without selling out and make a living as a creator. Some of my history is I used to be a Broadway actor, and then I went into marketing. And one of the disconnects is if you are a performer or you're creating something, you go, okay, I've made this art, but then how do I get people interested in it? Or how do I distribute it? Or how do I make money doing this? And so that's the connection I'm trying to make, is whether you're in gaming, you're making YouTube content, you're an artist, you're making music, you're making fine art, you're making necklaces, any of that stuff, figuring out how to understand what your value is and then sell that to the world is what I'm trying to do. And one of the biggest things I learned in this class, which is really important, is I think when you watch YouTube, you're trying to deconstruct what people are doing and then replicate it. And one of the biggest things you do all the time is don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hey, smash that subscribe button. And it's like, you're making your audience do too many things. One thing that we talk about in marketing is the funnel. And you're trying to send people on a journey, is that each step you're trying to guide them to the next part. But if the next part is you're sending them down 5 different paths, they're not going to know which way to go. So, and then they have decision fatigue. So give them one direction to go, and then that serves your needs, whether it is watching another video, whether it's subscribing to your channel, or you selling something. Each video has a task, and allow it to kind of be one path so an audience member doesn't get confused of where they need to go next.
So out of all the different options you could give people, which ones would you recommend that they focus on?
If you're looking to grow your channel, minutes watched is the biggest thing. So don't say like, share, and subscribe. Say, hey, if you like this, here's another video I have about a similar topic, or here's another video I have that you might like. Go watch this video now and continue that watch time. So then YouTube's robots know that you're a valuable person, and it starts introducing you to other people because it goes, oh, this person wants to be watched, and more people are watching them and spending more time with them.
That's right. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you should really know like what the goal is you have for, like for that piece of content, and then tailor your, no pun intended, tailor your actually that was intended now I think about it. Tailor your call to action to align with whatever the goal of the video is. So rather than every video having 15 goals of getting conversions, generating sales, visits to the website, following me on Instagram, subscribing to my channel, watching another video, go, all these like, can't have, just like pick what's the main goal of this video, craft it to accomplish that goal, and end it with that call to action. And something that you talked about and you kind of simplified it is there's the AARRR funnel. And I can't remember all the words, but you kind of simplified it into discovery, engagement, or as you say, likability and trust, and then transaction, and choosing one of those 3 actions to then choose where your viewer goes next. That's right. Cool. Love it. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you. I have like 2 more people left. And so if you want questions, the last chance to get them in. So type them in the chat. Let's go to Tiffany. Hey, Tiffany, how are you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you, bud, today?
Good. Yeah.
So I'm Chef Tiffany, and I teach kids how to cook. I have both an in-person cooking school here in Minnesota, and I just started a channel called The Kids Cooking School. And so I came into this class completely brand new. I have a couple of lives. That's it. So I learned just like everything. Every week it was something that I had no idea. My biggest takeaway from the class was really about story. And Tim did a podcast on this a couple of weeks ago, if anybody wants to listen to it. And Tim, after I start talking, you could probably remember the episode number. But
nope, I can't. I know some people are like that. I'm not one of them. It's like, yeah, I did that once.
I'll put it in the chat when it's not my turn. But it was really about how to, hook them in the beginning, and then really step into like what that audience, like what they really need, what is going to make them better, like how can we emotionally connect to them, Tim, this is the one where you talked a lot. You talked a lot about your family channel and where that was going in that episode. And so that really helped me because I did not want to be just another recipe channel where I'm just going through and you're just looking at what I'm doing. You know, my value add really is that I believe kids can do anything that they want to, but when they look on the internet, they see all of these tasty videos and Pinterest pictures and they're completely overwhelmed. So I want to teach them, but kids learn in a little bit different way than adults do. And so adding that story element into my videos, I think when they actually get published is going to be just a real differentiator from just your standard, this is a how-to tutorial on how to make something, because for a kid, a lot of things that we take, we just assume that the audience knows, the kid doesn't know. So that whole really knowing your target audience and what your niche is, all of that together was just really eye-opener for me.
Yeah, I think it's easy to kind of go into this just with an assumption of like, oh, just a general idea. And we're so focused on the content that we're making that we forget like who we actually are making it for and how we need to craft the content so that it resonates with them when they actually discover it, so that they keep watching and then watch more and subscribe and keep watching and become a, you know, really start watching everything that we do. So it's, yeah, that process is really hard. But do you have any tips for someone who's like, I think I have a general idea, but how do I really dive in and figure out exactly who that person is? Do you have any direction you would point them in?
As far as figuring out who the target audience is?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really thought a lot about like who, if I had somebody that was sitting in front of me, who would I want that to be? And when I first started, it was just kids, right? And I had classes, you know, that was from 6 to 18-year-olds. And there are a lot of people out there that are like, oh, well, I want women, right? Women between ages 35 to 55. But when I really thought about who it was that I connected with the most, who was the most like me and what I was really passionate about, so that I could speak directly to them, I really realized that my favorite person to work with is actually middle schoolers, because they're old enough to do the more advanced decorating stuff that I really like. And so my passion really aligned with their passion. And so even though a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old might like to watch, I want somebody to do more than just watch. I want them to watch and do it with me. And so that's a little bit older. And so I think to make that maybe a shorter answer was connecting what I was passionate with the audience that was passionate about the same thing.
Yep. Yeah. I haven't heard too many people say that, you know what, I would love to work with more middle schoolers. So that, you know, you're on the right track, because that's not like something you would naturally arrive at, I think.
No, which is so surprising to me, because they're old enough to do stuff, but they're not old enough to, they're not the older teenagers that are too busy or like they're too cool for that, right? It's a great age.
Great. Love it. We got Mary, and then we're going to dive into questions. So Mary, tell us about what you're doing on YouTube.
Hi, yeah, my name's Mary, but my nickname's Nova. I'm known as Nova on the channel, and I'm the artist on Sketch My Story. I animate fans and best of Reddit stories to entertain, inspire, and just connect everyone like with others. And everything that was shared, everything that was shared so far, it's like your retention graph will tell you if you're getting all these tips right. Like, you need to see where people drop off and adjust future videos. You know, you get them to that, like have 50% of your audience still there at the end. So, you know, some of the tips were like, well, if your intro doesn't doesn't meet the expectations of the title or thumbnail and it doesn't hook them enough, you're going to see a drop off. Your retention graph will tell you that. And if you use closing language, you'll see a drop off, and that's a reminder not to do that. Get them to the end. And if you don't keep their interest to the end, or you're not doing great storytelling, you won't get them to the end, and you'll see your retention graph just be like, so exactly. And so all of these tips, you can see the problems in the retention graph. So when you see a problem, go back to the tips to figure out how to fix it.
That's right. Yeah. And using data in general too is just so helpful, because a lot of times we're just like going based on like, how do I feel about this video versus that video? How does audience respond to it? And the comments you're getting. So it's not uncommon for some people to get like comments about what their audience likes and doesn't like, and change everything for them, you know? So for example, like there was one channel that was like, do you guys remember Epic Mealtime by any chance? A really old channel at this point. Yeah, Taylor does. And so they had this thing, everything was about bacon. That's old in YouTube years. Yeah. I know.
What am I doing with my life?
Well, one of the things that stood out to me, I saw them, I think it was the second VidCon. So was that like 9 years ago now? And he was like, we will publish a video, and within seconds, the comments would be like, more bacon. And he's like, you haven't even watched the video yet, you know? And so it's kind of like, you can't really just go based on comments, but looking at the data and the retention graphs and things that actually show you exactly what's going on with your content and how people are responding to it. So is there anything that stood out to you, Mary, and how you're using that's going to help you make better content going forward?
It's a combination. Yeah, sorry, I can't answer that well, because I every time I just wanted to improve that retention graph a little more. I just tweak what was broken, and it's a compound effect. So nothing stood out to me. It's really a compound effect. It's all incremental gains.
Well, you do that enough over time, it adds up for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's dive into some questions. Speaking of which, Dark Side Reviews, thank you for the $5 super chat. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Has anyone had the issue of doing a segment on their channel that you really love, but your audience does not? And did you continue it anyway? I'm going to open all these questions up to the group here. So you guys dive in. How would you answer that?
I have several times. And what I would do, so I would do, because I have a video game based channel. So I was like, oh, I can also do video game reviews. Here's this game I'm playing. It's new. It's awesome. It's however much it is. And people who came to my channel didn't come to my channel to watch video game reviews. There's 1,000 of those. They came to my channel for me specifically and what I do specifically. I still like doing them though. So I could do them anyway and just suffer the lack of views. The watch time was decent. So instead of doing a review, I still do them, but they're not reviews. It's just like, so I kind of tailored it to what I do on my channel. So it's still presented, just not as a video game review. So at the end of it, they're like, oh, that was a review, but I suckered them into it. That's what happened basically at the end of the day.
We should all see how many times we can get tailored into our.
Thank you. That's branding.
Any other responses you guys have for?
Yeah,
Dark
I
Side?
wanted to add to that. It's very important that you don't make content that your viewers want to watch, because it's very hard if they expect a certain video from you to go back to what you originally wanted to make, because you have an entire different audience that doesn't go well with what you want to do. So it's very easy to burn out or just lose everything you've worked so hard for and lose motivation to do it again. And there's also different types of video. You can make a video that's discoverable, that is made to get a whole lot of people that are new to your channel. You can make a video that's meant to sell something, but you can also make community-based videos. So it's important to see who watches those videos. And if you get little views, but there's a lot of interaction and people really like it, then that's more of a video that's meant for your inner core, your like biggest fans. And they can also be very important. So it's all about finding out who watches it and then making sure that's optimized to them. The view count doesn't always mean it's a bad thing if there's very little views.
Very important. I'm glad you said that. Anybody else?
Sorry. So if you have to make a video, just kidding. I've done that before. There was a video I just had to make and I unlisted it. I didn't have it be, I didn't want it to hurt my channel in any way. And so I just had it unlisted and I linked it from my blog was all. If it's just in you and it has to come out somehow. And then the other thing is we have made videos that we didn't think would do as well, and we did it on purpose, but it was because we thought that there were enough people on our channel that needed that information. It was really important for some people, and because our goal was to help people, then we did it anyway. So.
Love it. We got Robbie Olivar says, I have 3 months since I started with only 233 subs. Is that normal? My videos are good quality. Before starting on YouTube, I learned a lot from this channel. So how would you guys answer that question? Like, am I doing good? Am I not doing good? Go ahead, Peter. You dive in there.
I think one of the things that we talked about in the course is not necessarily think about the subs, but really about the value that you're offering. And so really going back, the question is, my videos are good quality. Before starting, learn a lot. Like the quality might be good of the video, but is the content good? And so is it the content that your target audience, or do you have a target audience? Really kind of taking a step back to identify who your target audience is, who your content is for, and getting an understanding of, is your content reaching that target audience? And if you kind of take a step back and look at it, it might help you, raise, all boats rise with the tide. So, if you find that your content is reaching that target audience, your subscribers will go up, your views will go up, your retention rate will hopefully go up.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Go ahead.
To add to what Peter said, I think finding your target audience, like specific target audience, what their interests are, you can imagine what they like to do on their free time, and then being able to solve specific problems for them with your content, either that be entertainment or teaching them something, I think is great for growing your audience.
And it's also very important to know what your goal is. Is your goal really to have a lot of subscribers, or is it something else? Because if I recall correctly, Tim managed to make a full-time living off of video creators when he had only about 3,000 subscribers, I think. So it's not about your sub count. More important is, are you reaching the people? Or if you're not, why is that? So take a good look at your analytics, especially audience retention, and see if people actually make it through to the entire video and if they click on something else. And if you can improve on that, you will grow much quicker.
And I think the key there is it's a lot of creators focus on delivering value, but to make money, you got to focus on capturing value as well. And a lot of creators have I'll call it an employee mindset, where you're like, I do the hard work and then YouTube's supposed to pay me, as opposed to, this is my job to both create, deliver, and capture value. And so it's the capturing value that a lot of creators are missing, that element. But yeah, that's really important. John Spike Explorer says, is it okay to clickbait a little? Example, I see Bigfoot, but it's just a picture of Bigfoot. Any answers on this? Go ahead, Taylor. Where's that?
Yeah, it's like you have to elicit an emotional response. We were bombarded with noise all day. And how do you break through the noise? And if I come to you with a kind of a clickbaity thing, so I redid all my titles on all my videos to make them a little bit more clickbaity, of basically this is the way, all that kind of weird stuff. But when people get in and you were able to deliver that in a way, they're okay with that. But if you do something of I'm standing with a gorilla, and then the video doesn't deliver the gorilla, then people are going to drop off. And I think that's also where you can look at retention graphs, is if people jump in and you don't have the gorilla, you'll see it totally fall down. But if you say, hey, this is the best recipe for making a chicken, we're going on that food thing. Here's the best recipe for chicken. I want to know the best recipe for making chicken. And you go in, you tell a story about making this chicken, and it is good, then you have delivered the value. But I really think it's about breaking through that noise with just a little bit of emotional pop to get people in the door and then do the sale of the video.
Yeah, I think it's not clickbait if they don't feel dirty afterwards. If you actually deliver, if you make a video about Bigfoot and you actually deliver on it, then that's not clickbait. you know, but if they're at the end, they're like, yeah, that was not at all. And YouTube figures that out real fast because there's high abandonment and the satisfaction ratings on your videos go down and things. So it's not beneficial. Just don't do it.
I say take a look at PewDiePie. He's really good at having like ridiculous titles. You're like, I want to see that, and you click it, and it's kind of there. You see why he said it. He doesn't lie, but it's not what he really pitched. But the video is so entertaining, and you just watch the entire thing anyway. You're not mad because you clicked on it, and that's the most important part. If you can still deliver value that's equal to what people expect, then you get away with it. But I wouldn't say, oh, I saw Bigfoot, and then just have a photo. Just make sure that it's actually entertaining and make it into maybe a recurring joke, and make sure that there's enough value in there to justify that it's in a title. And also using enticing words is, I think, even more effective. If you have a video and you put a lot of words like amazing or greatest or best, for example, the chicken recipe, there's a lot of just recipes. But if you have the most exciting thing out there, like, I'll give that a try, but just make sure to deliver.
Yeah, I had a friend who used a lot of, I would call it clickbait, I guess. Yeah, I would just go out and call it that. And it was like you said, it was kind of like I could see how you got there, but it was just like happened to be this one little segment at the end of the video, and it's kind of like, that's obviously not real, right? And so they did this, and they grew their channel very quickly to over 1 million subscribers, millions of views a month, and very successful, quit their jobs and became full-time creators. But then after about a year and a half, like they grew to 1 million subscribers less than a year. After about a year and a half of it though, people started catching on. They're like, that's what the title says, but I'm going to feel let down every time. I'm not going to click. And then once they lost that trust with their audience, their channel tanked and they could not recover. And that's like, there's nothing you can do metric wise or analytics wise or anything. Like once you lost the trust of like 1 million people, like that channel, like you get short-term results, and then the long-term, it is just not sustainable. So let's keep going here. We got a few more. The natural progressive. I'll do this one real quick myself. How do you stream multiple people easily? Now Hangouts will be gone. Zoom is too expensive for me. That's actually what I'm using right now. Not sponsored, but I'm using Zoom. I think you can. And you don't need the expensive package in order to do it. You need that for webinars, but just to stream like I'm doing it, I just have the annual flat fee basic rate. So it's not super expensive. Garrett D. I am 40, just started my channel. Can I still make it as a YouTuber? Let's be honest, I can take it. Can they still make it?
Yes.
Go ahead, John.
I'm 40 and I made it. I mean,
I'm 49.
There we go. See, yeah. See, it's never too late. I mean, it's just, you know, I have a friend of mine who's my age, and he just learned how to skateboard. I mean, it's just I hate to be like oh, you're never too late to learn how to play a musical instrument and all that, but it's you know, for me, at the end of the day, it's free, right, to post videos on YouTube. I have none of the fancy technology. I mean, there's people who are like, you got to have the best, you know, I need to have a lighting crew, and I need to have like, you know, the $5,000 camera. I use my cell phone to record everything, and I use iMovie, which is free, to edit everything. And I'm doing this on the cheap. And like I said, I'm doing pretty good. I took the class because I wanted to do even better. But any, you know, come on, you can do this. Come on now, you can do this.
Let's go. Good. Thank you. We've got a few more. We're going to go through these pretty quick. Star reviews. How valuable is it to send external relevant traffic to my videos? I have a large email list, so I've been driving external traffic, but I do not know how valuable it is for my YouTube listings. So it's a little bit more of a technical one. I wanted to toss out to you guys, see how you handle it. How do you guys answer it?
I just actually released a video about using an email list to drive people to valuable content. So if I can hit this, is the idea of whatever email sequence you have, or the people who are subscribed to your email list, they're there for a specific value that you're delivering. If your content is valuable to what they subscribe to, so let's say for Tim is like, you know, I want you to spread your message, you know, or I want you to take this class, and all of you on the stream are going, God, I want to be better at YouTube. And if you're on his email list, which you should sign up because he's great, he may send you a video, say, hey, I've got this great new video. Maybe you haven't seen it. Come check it out. And you better believe when I got that email, I clicked that link because I want to see what he has to say, because that email list is giving me value. And it's just another channel to reach me and hit discovery there. But he's also pitching the value of what that video is.
Can you guys grow without a email list, grow a channel, or how important is the external traffic, do you think?
I was actually typing a response to him and it was too many words, so it didn't send. One of my really big takeaways from this was the importance of getting them to watch the next video and not all of this one-timey. And I was using all of everything that I knew from the other platforms, and really none of that applies to YouTube. So the whole, let's get the blogging traffic to my blog post and all of that is going to make my Google juice great. Well, that's great for Google, but in YouTube, you've got to get them watching that next video. So if you get them to video A, you got to make sure that that video A that you're getting to is designed specifically to get them to video B, and even then video C and D. And that is what is going to make YouTube be like, oh, this is the kind of person, and then naturally really present it to that same kind of content to that person, your content, over and over again. And that was the biggest mind-blowing thing for me, was that I had to leave all of that stuff behind, which has made me completely change my YouTube business plan in the middle of class.
Yeah, we had a bunch of full-time bloggers in this session of Video Labs who I think were like, what? Are you sure? And yeah,
no, Tim, you can't be right.
Yeah, so that was good. I think like external traffic is great, but you don't need it. Your question is how valuable it is. It's valuable, but think about it more in terms of like, is this content valuable for my list? Not so much, will my list help my channel grow? I don't think it works that way. So many channels grow very quickly without an email list at all. So we usually focus on targeting like suggested videos and homepage videos and search and things like that, like the built-in discovery mechanisms on YouTube, as opposed to the external, just because you spend a lot of time on external with not nearly this type of results as if you had placed that same amount of attention on really utilizing YouTube's built-in discovery mechanisms, and you can grow a lot faster, reach a lot more people, and people who aren't even already on your list. So that's kind of where we tend to focus that. Susan Pierce Gordon says, I've got great support and following from other social media platforms, but just can't get them to come over and watch me on YouTube. Any ideas? Kind of goes on.
It's very important that you have to figure out why people follow you on your other social media and why people watch your videos. If they don't seem the same, then they're not going to watch it. If they follow you on your personal account and they're just friends from school, maybe, they're probably not as dedicated to watching your videos. So you got to make sure that they know what value you can offer and that they're in your target audience. Now, what I do is sometimes I make a skit and I will write a separate part, and that is a sort of a trailer. So for example, I had this one mini trailer that was, oh my God, you guys, I've just been hacked. Someone has some serious blackmail material on me. I have to go right now, do some damage control, but I'll be right back and I will tell you all about what happened. And then I put the link to the actual video with it. So I made a couple of those and I saw some people convert to the video to see the rest. So if you can tease them and show them what value you can bring from your YouTube channel, then you can actually convert them, but they have to know what and why, and they have to want it. So if they're just not in your target audience and they're just friends from school, it's going to be hard. But if they already like what you do, for example, you have a food blog or something, and your viewers just don't know that there's a channel, then you can start converting them. So think about why they would want to watch it and whether they are aware of your videos and how you can make them more aware and tease your content.
Anybody else?
Yeah, he said that. So that person said that they take the same video and they put it on YouTube, and so you think, okay, yeah, maybe it's like for like, but that's telling me that possibly the videos aren't optimized for YouTube. They're too optimized for Facebook. So the people that are watching it on Facebook now, it's optimized for them and they prefer it on that platform. So maybe you need to go through all these tips and optimize your title, thumbnail, and your tease or your hook in the beginning, and work on that video specifically for YouTube. And don't worry about bringing your existing people over to YouTube, but capture the same audience on YouTube as a channel creator here.
Yeah, I think kind of there's 2 billion monthly active logged in users on YouTube, right? So you can spend a lot of effort getting people from Facebook over to YouTube, or from your blog over to YouTube, or your Instagram, and you can do that and it can work. But for the amount of effort that you're putting in to do that, I found it way easier to grow the channel just organically right on YouTube with new people who aren't following you on Instagram and aren't on your email list and don't follow your Facebook page or whatever. And I think, like, if you're going to put energy into something, that's far more worth your time and attention, which is what we focus on Video Labs. But I just think in general, trying to get someone on Facebook to go watch your videos on YouTube, it's hard to do. And even if you get it, it just doesn't serve them that well. You might as well just upload the video straight to Facebook, because it'll serve them better there. It's easier to share. It's a more natural experience. So that's kind of where we focus that. Well, if you guys want to learn, oh, go ahead, John.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's actually exactly what I do. Because I have a Facebook channel as well, or a Facebook page as well. That's like 48,000 followers or something like that. But I'll post to YouTube first, because I'm more interested in growing the YouTube channel. I mean, I'm interested in growing my brand, whether it be YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, they're all it's all me, but it's all its own thing. But with Facebook, I'll post the video to Facebook a couple of days later. So when they go there, it's like, oh, well, here it is. And then, of course, I'll link it to YouTube too. But if they want to watch it first, first it'll be on YouTube. And then a couple days later, I'll post it on Facebook. But I think a lot of my Facebook followers are now saying, oh, hey, if I want to watch it earlier, I'll check it out on YouTube too, in a way. And that's kind of what I do. And it's been working pretty well.
Good. You guys want to find out more about any of these creators who are here, you can find links to all their channels down in the show notes of this recording, or down in the description below. It's a live stream. Check them out, follow their journey. And again, if you want to join us in the next Video Labs group, starts in October, there is a link you can sign up to be on the wait list. I let those people know first. It is only open to 27 people, and it sells out. It's sold out every single session for the past 4 or 5 years, however long I've been doing it. So if you want to be the first to get notified, sign up, get on that list. You'll be the first to know. And then you can get access to register before anyone else. So we'd love to have you guys in our next one. And so find out more information about it there. But in the meantime, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for listening on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And I will see you guys again next week for another Video Creators podcast episode. See you then.